Good afternoon, wonderful family. I'm out here looking forward to an incredible lunch. And on the menu here is a lot. This is just, I would say, traditional vegetables, and they've got pork and kachumbari. And I'm telling you, friends, these people make amazing, amazing food. As you can tell, we are sitting by the shores of Lake Loli. I'm going to be out here with my supervisor. Today is daddy daughter time. We're going to spend the rest of the afternoon just hanging out, enjoying the breeze, and just eating what the lake offers this afternoon, friends. But in the next 10 minutes, I want to speak with you about people who should never come to Africa. There are a lot of folks that I meet in Africa that I know for sure don't need to be around here. Many of them are people like you and I who were born and raised in Africa and then left. Now we are coming back. Some of them are white folks from all over the world that come here. And then you have people in between who honestly should have nothing to do with Africa. In truth, Africa is not for everybody. So I'm going to give you a list of folks who really should not be here at all. So to kick us off, I want to show you a short video clip of one perfect example of the kinds of people that I hope never to meet anywhere on African soil. So let me show you the video real quick, and then we will continue our conversation right after the video ends.
Dad, I don't want to see your ugly face anymore. Make it sound, make it fucking orangutan moves. No, you can say that for yourself. You're not an orangutan. You're not a cool guy. You're just an asshole, that's all. And I want you to leave right now. Now. Out of my office. Out of my office, you fucker. Now. Leave. Leave. Okay, you! Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? You wanna go against me? Go on. I'll hit you. If you don't stop filming me right now, I'm going to go against you. Hey! What the fuck are you doing? Come on, amateur. This is how you do it. Stay away. Move. I feel snotty and going. With your permission, can I use your shirt to wipe my face? Because they're snotty. I know it's not you, but thanks to you. Come on. I don't think you see you. Sure. Keep your eyes and get attention inside. This guy is. Yeah, he's a loser.
Well, folks, clearly this video is really disturbing. For me, I felt like I almost wanted to jump out of my screen and just grab him by you know what. But anyway, folks, I apologize for the coarse language. Before we unpack the video and what we need to talk about, I'm one of the friends. If you have not subscribed, check if you're one of those and push us to 100K by the end of the year. And if you need help with coming back to Africa, you need help with construction, getting interior designers, landscapers, builders, we have connections. My number is below. Hit me up. I'm happy to connect you with folks who can help you with things of that nature. So anyway, friends, the backstory of that, what you've just watched is that apparently this guy is from somewhere in Europe. He comes to Africa, and it's been reported that he had some kind of a Kenyan girlfriend. So that video shows him at a police station. He's just been arrested for assaulting his Kenyan girlfriend. And he's at a police station assaulting another police officer inside a police station. Now, if he can do that to a police officer at a police station, you can only imagine what is done to that African girlfriend or what is done to other folks. And these stories are very, very common, especially in tourist spots in Kenya. You go to Mombasa, you go to places where you'll find a lot of tourists, you'll see a lot of this kind of nonsense. It's very disturbing, folks. So this brings us to the first group of people that I hope never to see in Africa. Number one, just plain old racist. What's actually interesting is that the kinds of racists that I have run into in Africa are often the ones who will marry black people. They actually live with black people, have mixed kids, and somehow they still maintain their racist tendencies to the core. I've never really understood that. A lot of them actually love Africa, not because of who we are. They love what Africa gives them. So many of them end up buying property and living with us. But their racist tendencies never go away for whatever reason. And to make it even worse, there are those of them who actually come to Africa and try to create worlds where Africans, or especially black people, are not allowed to participate. There's actually a village somewhere in South Africa where black people are not allowed to go. So can you imagine somebody coming to Africa and creating a thing or a space where black people are not supposed to participate? Many of these folks actually employ black people. So I say they come to Africa for what Africa gives them. But they end up doing extremely terrible racist stuff like what you just watched. So these are the folks that I hope never to run into on the African soil. The second group of folks that I hope never to run into are people that I call super entitled folks. And many of them are people like you and I who were born and raised in Africa but have been gone for a while. Some of them are foreigners who have never been to Africa. And so when they come to Africa, the first thing you notice is that they see Africans as less important, or they see themselves as more sophisticated, more intelligent than the local folks they find around. And so oftentimes when they meet Africans in their politeness, like you saw the police officer, that guy was just exceptionally polite. When these entitled folks see people who are polite, they tend to interpret that to mean permission for them to do whatever they want to do. And so these entitled folks really make life difficult for those they find locally. So if you're one of those folks, please don't come to Africa. And then there's this group of folks who come to Africa and don't understand their place. Now, Africa, like every other place on earth, you'll find people from all kinds of places. You have different people from different tribes, different cultures, different nationalities, and there's quite a bit of social stratification. But when you come to Africa, it's really important to understand your place in that society. Like in my case, I was born and raised in Africa, but I've been gone for decades. Now that I'm coming back, I understand that I occupy a very different position compared to people who have lived their entire lives in Africa. And so if you are a person who has not had the lived experience of spending your entire life in Africa, there's some things that you may not understand. And so when you come home, come back, learn your place, and find ways to fit without necessarily ruffling feathers, whether intentionally or not. Now, I see this a lot when people come in and then they engage in some conversations that really rub people the wrong way. For example, as a Kenyan, when you travel to Rwanda, you land there and then you meet people. The first thing you want to ask them is about who is Hutu, who is Tutsi. I promise you're going to get in trouble. Don't make that mistake in Rwanda. Same thing is like when you see a white person coming to Africa, and then if you find black people talking about the issue of race. I've had cases where a white person comes and dismisses my experience when you're talking about race. It's like, oh, you guys like being perpetual victims. It's like, and who the hell are you to tell me what my experience is like as a black person? You've never been black. You've never been a black person. And so if understanding your place sometimes means just simply listen and maybe ask questions. You don't need to insert yourself in every conversation. Sometimes I meet people who are from other places. They come home and they're busy talking about this tribe, that tribe, and all they're talking about is stereotypes. That I hear Kalenjins do this, I hear Kisses do that. Oh, are you Kikuyu? Are you that? It's like, hey, relax. Some of those things you're going to bring up are very sensitive topics that require quite a bit of understanding. And so if you're new, focus on learning. Focus more on listening rather than inserting yourself in saying things that will probably rub people the wrong way. We all do that. And it doesn't matter whether you're born and raised in Africa or you're new. Learn your place and find ways to fit in and minimizing experiences where you're actually going to offend people unknowingly. Now, the other group of folks that I hope never to run into in Africa, people that I call culture blind folks. And many of them actually have good intentions. They're the people who you will hear them say, I don't see color. We are all God's people. Generally, that comes from a good place. The problem with that is that they often think that their way of life is what is the standard across the whole world. And so things that are different from the way they do things are obviously wrong. So, like one time I met a foreigner back at home, and then we were talking, and I told her that I was going to see my third grandmother. And her reaction to it was very offensive. And in part because people who are not African, in some places, especially I would say Americans or Europeans, they see polygamy as wrong. And polygamy is wrong because that is not what they do. So there's some things that you may not understand. Just realize that your way of being is just one of the many ways of doing things. So if polygamy is not your thing, it doesn't mean that other people should not do it, or because other people are doing it, they're wrong. Culture blind people end up being very offensive, in part because they think their way of life is the standard that everybody else should be following. So all I say, at best, just make sure that when you're in doubt, ask people who can explain to you, and ask respectfully. But also make sure that you're asking the right question to the right person. Because oftentimes you may end up with a good intention and ending up really rubbing people the wrong way. For example, one time I met one of my neighbor's kids, and the kid was almost getting close to, I think, 12th grade, where they do exams. And so I went to their home and offered to pay so that some teachers could give them extra tuition. In my mind, I was coming from a good place. I'm thinking, these are high school kids. They are close to exam. I need to help. That thing turned into a massive problem until I realized that there was a whole lot more going on. And so my offer to pay to help this kid was misinterpreted to be something very different. Another scenario, again, a different neighbor, someplace else. I meet him. He had lost his job. And as you guys know, I do construction. So I have a lot of construction jobs. So I reached out and said, hey, how about you join one of my teams? There's construction jobs that could help here as you're waiting to get a job of your choice. And again, in my mind, I was coming from a good place. I'm telling you, the way that thing was misconstrued, it became something else. In fact, from some quarters, I had people say that, so he thinks that my husband, should just be doing manual construction jobs of all the options. And they were really pissed. So again, in my mind, I was coming from a good place. I just wanted to help. But again, it turned out into something else. So sometimes good intentions are not enough. Take your time, learn, and act based on information you've picked up. So just because you have good intention doesn't mean you're not going to cause harm. So keep that in mind. And then the other group of folks that I hope never to see in Africa are people for whom the world begins and ends with them. So they come to Africa and all they care about is what Africa gives them. It's this me world. They forget that in Africa, the group often comes first before individuals. And so I've seen cases where maybe you buy land, and oftentimes you have land that goes all the way to the river. And then in your land, there was like a footpath that everybody used to go to the river. Then you buy that land, you fence it off, and now people no longer have access to the river. That becomes a problem. That happened to me too. I wanted to fix a road leading to my home. Again, at that point, I was thinking about me and my comfort to my home. I didn't realize that in fixing that road, it was going to impact people's lands that are next to that road. I got into so much trouble, and then I just gave up. And so when you come to Africa and you're doing something, I'm not saying you should not do anything because other people are not happy. No, all I'm saying is also consider the impact of what you're doing, impact on other people. So like in that case where you have land that leads to the river and people use a footpath through that land, you could even just leave a slice of a piece to just allow folks to walk to the river. You will not lose anything. I've seen people who buy like 5 acres, fence the whole thing. If you leave even a small piece footpath that allows people to get to the river, I'm telling you, you will not lose anything. So all I'm saying is just consider the impact of your actions on other folks. Yeah. Even things like building mortuary. You might want to start a business. Africans are scared of having mortuaries where people live. So just don't go and plant a mortuary in the middle of where people live. Because I'm telling you, that may get you into a world of trouble. So anyway, folks, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me around the lake. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.